This is the story of Tina Twinkle Tooth. One very busy tooth fairy. The tooth fairy's very busy night. Once upon a time, in a secret magical land called Flossington, there lived the most famous fairy in the world, Tina Twinkle Tooth, the Tooth Fairy. She wasn't just any fairy. She was the CEO of Tooth Collection Incorporated, running one of the busiest magical companies on the planet. Every night, Tina zoomed across the globe, collecting teeth and delivering surprises to children like Aaliyah Rose, who had just lost her second tooth in 1 week. How Tina gets her calls. Tina's day starts bright and early, with her magic tooth phone lighting up like a disco ball. Ring ring. Every time a child loses a tooth, the parents send a magical message through the Tooth Fairy hotline, usually by calling or texting, and Tina's phone buzzes like crazy. Tina checks her messages on her sparkly rainbow screen. Oh look, Aaliyah Rose has lost another tooth. That's 2 this week, better add her to my travel list. Tina takes these messages very seriously. Gotta make sure I don't forget anyone. No tooth left behind, she says, and with a flick of her wand, the child's name, address, and tooth details appear on her tooth tracker map, which shows all the places she has to visit that night. She even makes sure to note whether Jaylee, Aaliyah Rose's mom, had time to call early or if it was a last-minute text. Those affect Tina's travel route, after all. The travel dilemma. Now, you might wonder, how does Tina get to every house in the world in one night? Well, it's not easy. She doesn't just fly, no, Tina uses the Tooth Mobile. It's a shiny, magical car powered by fairy dust and baby teeth, zooming faster than the speed of light. The Tooth Mobile has wings, because of course it does, and a turbo boost button that shoots it through the air like a shooting star. Tina's fairy assistants, Toodles and Glitterbell, sit in the back seat with bags of coins and dollars, sorting them according to special tooth charts. This one's for Aaliyah Rose, says Glitterbell, pulling out a $5 note. Do we have enough change for the rest of the night? Toodles frowns, counting the coins. We might need to stop by the fairy ATM. Sometimes, when Tina's in a rush, she has to leave coins because, well, even fairies have cash flow problems when they're flying at the speed of light. The Tooth Exchange. When Tina arrives at a child's house, she carefully tiptoes inside. She's very quiet, of course. For Aaliyah Rose, who loves keeping her teeth in neat little envelopes under her pillow, Tina always chuckles and whispers, "Good organization, Aaliyah Rose." Tina swaps the tooth for money, leaves a note, and carefully flies out the window, off to the next house. What does she do with all the teeth? The question on everyone's mind. What does the Tooth Fairy do with all those teeth? Well, Tina takes all the teeth she collects back to Flossington, where they're used to power Fairyland's magic castle. The teeth act like tiny little batteries, lighting up fairy homes, running fairy vacuums, and even powering the fairy floss factory, where they make the fluffiest cotton candy in the universe. Aaliyah Rose's teeth are extra sparkly, so they go into the royal fairy throne room to keep the fairy kingdom glowing. Where does she get the money? Now, About that money. You see, Tina doesn't just find money lying around. Oh no. She's a bit of a business fairy. Every month, Tina meets with Sir Sparklepocket, the fairy banker, and exchanges all the fairy dust she collects from children's joy when they wake up and find money under their pillows. In return, Sir Sparklepocket gives her coins and notes. The amount varies depending on how much joy she's collected, which is why sometimes it's $5, sometimes it's a little more, and sometimes she has to leave coins. Fairy economics, you know. What does Tina do for fun? When she's not zooming around collecting teeth, Tina likes to spend her free time gardening in her fairy garden or watching firefly ballets. She also loves reading fairy adventure books and playing with her pet dragonfly, Flitter, who sometimes flies with her on extra long trips to keep her company. What happens when she's sick or takes a holiday? Of course, even the tooth fairy needs a break. When Tina's feeling under the weather or taking a holiday to the fairy spa, where she relaxes in a bathtub filled with sparkly soap bubbles, she has a team of substitute fairies ready to help out. They're called the Tooth Brigade, and they're highly trained. Becoming a substitute tooth fairy is no joke. They have to go to fairy flight school and pass a test in sneaky pillow lifting. Plus, they need to practice tooth swapping 101 and coin placement techniques. It's a serious job, but only the best of the best get selected to help when Tina takes a day off. The end of the night. By the end of a long night of tooth collecting, Tina is absolutely exhausted. She zooms back to Flossington in her tooth mobile, carrying bags of teeth and her tooth tracker full of check marks. She gives a big yawn, stretches her wings, and says to Toodles and Glitterbell, another successful night of tooth collecting. But before she can rest, she checks her tooth fairy hotline one more time, just in case there's another last-minute call. After all, you never know when a little one might lose their tooth and need to be added to her travel list. But no matter how busy the night is, Tina always makes sure that every child, especially Aaliyah Rose, gets their special visit. And when Tina finally crawls into her fluffy fairy bed, she smiles, knowing that another magical night has brought happiness to children all over the world.